So what happens is this. When we are in gratitude, that's a good thing. But then what if you take it one step further like I did? And I took it to mean be thankful for what you have and don't want any more. So my mom used to always tell me, I don't know if this was the same, just be grateful for what you have. Because I would say something like, Mom, I want to have this, or I want to have that. And she'd say, just be grateful for what you have, right? And so for me, it was like, oh, well then maybe I shouldn't want anything more. And I remember one day I told her, I said, Mom, I want to be a doctor. And she says, just be grateful for finishing high school. And it was like, oh, wow. Then to me, that meant you just need to be grateful and don't want any more. Do you see that? And I don't know if you guys have ever felt that. But what happens is then there was this point in my life where I was working with spiritual advisors, and I realized what I was doing to myself was sabotaging myself and not allowing myself to have more, because I thought I took it as just be grateful for what you have and don't want any more. And she never said that part, but I felt it. Does that make sense? So sometimes our perceptions can create blocks for us that don't make us, that keep us from moving forward, right? So when the Yama says being in acceptance, that's good. Like she said, being in acceptance and gratitude, learning from our failures, right? But then having aspirations, staying away from the wanting. Now tell me, does anybody understand that phrase? Staying away, having aspirations and staying away from the wanting feeling of lack. Do you understand what that means? Anybody understand what that? Want to take a gander? Yes.
Taking something that you don't need it, you buy it for any.
And you don't need it? No, close, but more like when you want something. Why do you want it? We've talked about this before. Why do you want something? Because you're lacking. Right? Because you're lacking. That's really why you want something. But you're in that feeling of lack. And remember what I told you about the universal laws? The feelings come first. That's what talks to the universe. Your feelings come before your words. So you're feeling like you don't have it, and that's why you want it. Do you see what I'm saying? So the universe then is going to give you more opportunity to feel that feeling of wanting. And that's a tricky feeling to really find that you're doing it. Like, think about it. When you ask for something, it's, yes, you want it, but why do you want it? You have to go deeper. And when you ask, there's a difference between asking that you want something but not expecting to get it, and no attachment. Does that make sense? Let me give you an example. You guys tell me if this helps you understand it a little bit more. About 2 years ago, I was driving around a green Lexus. And I wanted to change cars, so I wanted this new Mercedes that was coming out, and I called the Mercedes guy, and he said to me, "Oh, well, guess what? I guess we don't have what you're looking for." And I said, "What do you mean you don't have what I'm looking for? I really want this car, and I want it to look like this, and I want it to look like that." And then he said, "Let me look." And he looked he looked for it, and he didn't have it. And so it was like, okay, he called me up and he says, "Marty, I don't have it." He says, "I don't have it in stock. I can order it for you, but I'm not sure if it'll come in," and all of this stuff. And so at that point, I was really disappointed, because I really was in that wanting it because my car was acting up, and I was coming from a place of wanting the new car because of the fact that my old car was acting up, right? So I wasn't in the wanting space where I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool when I have it and this and that. I was thinking about my old car and how bad it was running and how messed up it was, and it wasn't really messed up, but in my mind it was, right? And so it didn't happen. And this was in about April. And it didn't happen, and then I was disappointed, and it was like, okay, well, ni modo, it didn't, after I got over it. But it took me a while to get over it. But then about 3 months after I got over it, I get a phone call when I had let go of the attachment. When it didn't matter anymore whether I got the car or not, I get a phone call, and he says, it was in September. Now, mind you, remember that he told me I couldn't have it in May. So, in September, he calls me up and he says, Marty, guess what? You're not going to believe it. He says, I've got the perfect car. You've got to come down here. You've got to see it. It's yours. It's got your name written all over it. It's exactly what you asked for. Oh, my gosh. Right? So, of course, I get all excited, but it didn't matter to me. And as I'm driving up there, I'm thinking, oh, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And this is all I'm going to pay, and that's it. And I got there and I said, James, I said, this is all I'm going to pay for it. I said, and it doesn't really matter whether I get it or not anymore. But this is all I'm willing to pay for it. This is it. And he goes, wow, Marty, I don't know that we can do this. I go, no problem. I said, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna go get something to eat. I said, I'll come back. Ask your people, and I'll come back. Right? And so I came back and I said, I'm on my way home. I said, can I have my keys to my car? And he goes, no, wait. He goes, wait. And sure enough, they came back and they gave me everything I wanted in the new package. And then it was like, okay, thank you. But I had let go of the attachment. You see, when I wanted it so bad because I didn't have it, it didn't happen. And that's what happens to us. That's what Santosa is about, is to let go of the attachment, because it'll happen in its own due time. Everything that we ask for in the universe is on its way to us. But it's when we get into the wanting that we stop it from coming to us. Does that make sense? Did that clarify the wanting? Be careful when you want something. Make sure it's because you want it, because you like the way it looks, you're going to like the way it feels, it's going to be so cool, it's going to be awesome, it's like a new story. Instead of saying, I want it because my doesn't work. I want it because I want to get out of this loan. I want it because, right? Does that make sense? Yes, question?
El querer algo es por alguna razón. Si voy a querer algo es, tengo que justificarlo.
No, mijo. Cuando tú quieres algo, tienes que estar en el espacio y en la energía de quererlo por una razón que no sea porque, por ejemplo, un carro, porque esté viejo, porque ya no sirve, porque no los rines, porque las brecas, porque esto no sirve. Entonces hay que querer algo por el espacio de, ay, qué suave, sería bien suave tener este carro porque está bien bonito, bien lindo, bien rápido, bien...
¿Que no es como al revés?
¿Mande? Okay. So when you want something, you got to come from the space of enjoying it as if you already had it. Not from a space of getting rid of something because you don't like what you have. Does that make sense?
¿Cuál es la consecuencia?
Yeah. Right. Does that make sense? You sure? Okay, explain it to me.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So when you want a new car, why do you want a new car usually?
Because I need a new car.
Well, but if you had a car, if you had an old car, you would probably be looking at the car saying, this old car doesn't work, the rims don't work, blah, 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 doesn't work, this isn't working, that's why I want a new car.
Yeah.
That's coming from a feeling of lack.
Okay.
You're wanting it because you're focusing on everything that doesn't work, and it feels differently than if you said, I want a Tesla because I test drove it, man, and that baby just runs, man. I just want it because it's going to be hot, man. See the difference, man? So to want something because it's going to be awesome, amazing, spectacular, more fun, all of that is good because you're coming from a different space of emotion. Remember that emotion is the precursor to what we actually manifest.
Cuando quiere alguno, eso depende del plano, la perspectiva en la que uno está solicitando algo que